let's just continue on unwrapping this piece here. And I'll actually just zoom in on the wood because I know that I'm going to focus on that for this bit. So I'm just going to grab, I'm going to select the areas that I want to affect here. So these are actually already UV'd. I think I might have done them off camera. So for the sake of teaching this, I'm going to select all these and I'm going to remove those seams and start over. I'm going to separate this for the moment. So I'll isolate and I'm going to press U and clear seam. So in this we have, where's my goods? Here we go. So that's the majority of these tiles here. I need to separate these. So I'm just going to select around. There's an underneath as well. Will I consider that? No, I'm almost certainly going to cover that up with something, so I'll just leave that for the moment. I'm going to focus on just these, and I'll do this side as well. Alright, now I'll separate this too. These are all going to be joined back once we figure out like the exact texture it's going to use. Because it's using the atlas, these can all be part of the same group, you know. So I'm just going to select this and go into edit mode, into edges, and I want to consider how this is going to best unfold. So I know that adding a seam, actually I don't think I need to add a seam on this. That probably wouldn't, there's nowhere that a seam needs to be cut. It's pretty much self-unfolding. Yep, this is actually perfect. So I'm just going to press A to select everything, and I'll press U and unwrap. And we can see that worked out pretty well. So I'm just going to rotate these, and I'll unhide everything else by pressing the / key. Let me just turn on my shortcuts actually. Yeah. So back into edit mode, I'll grab my UVs here. A little scale down and move them into place. Now I'll just do one at a time to get the best projection here. So I know I need to fill the UV square. Alright. There's some absolutely terrible music going on in my headphones right now. Be glad you're not listening to it. I need to actually scale this. And I'll have a look. Okay, so we've got the crease that's running the length of this. I'm gonna do what we've done here and just move this so that that seam is in line with where the two textures meet. So I'll just move this like so. Perfect. And now I'll just do the same here. I press L to select this island and scale it up. And move this into place. Oh my god, that music has to go. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Right, so there we go. That's our wooden edges done here on the trim. Now, because these are both using the same atlas, I could just select this and now the main and Control J and join them. Yeah, looking a bit better. Next up, I guess this stretch is actually kind of annoying to look at. I want to just temporarily deal with that. Or can I yet? The inside is not done yet. I suppose I can. Yeah, I'm gonna add cuts into the center of these two. So now we should have kind of squares. They're not exactly square, but it's enough to project what we need. I'm going to select all them and press U and unwrap. Now they unwrapped in one group. So I'll turn off sync UV. And with each of these, I'm going to select one, press U and unwrap. And that'll unwrap them all then to the UV square. Okay, so they're not quite all squared, but it's an easy fix. I just need to select, in vertex select, I need to select these guys, and I'll press G and move my mouse just to drag them to the outside. Now I will be coming back to this, so I'm not worried about aligning this perfect yet. This is just to stop the appearance as it is at the moment. And it's a holy mess, so we need to scale it down into the wood section. It's not going to be perfect until I come back to it. Yeah. A couple of them are rotated the wrong way as well. I suppose it won't take long to deal with that. I'll just select those three and rotate. Yeah. It's a little less of an eyesore. So this guy is the same. I need to find, here's the UV mess. So I'll isolate him. I'll first separate him. Select and isolate him. Now I need to consider my cuts on this one. So I want this to fold out completely in as far as here. So I'll select him and unwrap. And I'll do the same on this guy. Select him the whole way and unwrap. So I want to see how they unwrapped. Actually not bad. Okay, a couple of little problems, but not bad. I'll move him out so I can line him up properly. I'm going to go into vertex mode. Select, no, actually I'll take edges. Do I even need to? No, I don't even think I need to. I'm probably complicating it there. I'm going to manually straighten this up. And I want the wood grain to probably go horizontal on this for the best result. So I'm actually just going to rotate 90 degrees and I'll scale him down and move him into place. And he's not showing up because I did not apply the material. So I'll remove the standard, apply the atlas. Okay, so he's still too big and I'm on the wrong one. So I do actually need to rotate him. Yeah, so I think that horizontal grain would look best. But I can't fit this into my UV space at that scale, so I'll need to bring them down and check. That's actually not bad. That worked out pretty well. Okay, again, I want this crack in the wood to probably run to the top. So I'll move him up. Okay, I can see there's a slight rotation on him here as it's running off, so I will rotate him into place. I'm going to hold shift so I have finite control over the rotation. There we go. That's as good as I'll probably get that. Now I'll do the other. So I have him as a base I can scale from. I'm just going to grab the other guy and bring him down roughly the same size. Maybe I can bring the UV over this side. It seems to be a little less scratched up here, just to add a bit of difference to it. Right, let's see if I can get the natural crack here. All right. Okay, that's not bad. Now for this fella, I'll just grab him. He's a simple. He actually doesn't need to be steamed out either. I'll just select everything and press U and unwrap. Now I'll move these into the UV section. Okay, so I'm scaling this in 1 so that this little angled wing has a little texture to use as well, because we can see the way that's cut off there. That bevel is causing a slight issue, so maybe if I can select that and move it. No, it separates the geometry on me. Okay, I won't worry about it again, it's so minor. Now this guy. I'll select everything. All right, U and unwrap. Now this is the same problem that I had with the last, so half wondering if I could probably even try fix that, or if I should just scale it in and hope for the best. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna fight with that. I might even end up changing what atlas it's on. Probably go with a wood that doesn't have the cuts into it. Okay, so something like that. Turn that off. Now the fact that the wood is kind of matching the color of the roof tiles is probably taken away from the impact of it. So maybe I will end up changing what wood I use there. If I can get something similar with a different color, might actually look pretty okay. All right, so this should be a simple one. The window frame. I'm going to undo my seams on this so I can cut them fresh. And I'll isolate it. So, sorry, separate it, now isolate it. Remove the material at the atlas. And you can see that's a holy mess here. So with this, when you're considering what way you want to cut this up, you want to keep these longer pieces of their own. So where this kind of cuts off at an extreme angle, we'll probably throw a loop in there. So I'm going to press Alt and click that edge loop. And down here, I'm going to do the same. I'll hold Alt, press Shift, and click that. Do it in each corner. Okay, and right click and mark seam. And these are perfect actually because they don't have a back, they'll just naturally unfold. So I'll just press select polygon and press A for everything, and U and unwrap. So that cut them all up nicely first. Again, this curved piece is going to cause problems, so I'll move him out. and I'll worry about him last. I'm just going to get everything else scaled down. This doesn't need a tile because they're cut off at the end. They don't tile, so I can just move them into place like that. Now I want to kind of hide any of these objects here, like having the crease along that. So I'll select this piece, press L, and I'm just going to move this in my UV layout until that piece is hidden. No, okay. I'll find the widest piece here. There we go. It's on top. Probably not a problem, but it's an easy fix. I'm just going to grab it and I'll press S and scale it inwards. But I'll also click my middle mouse to scale it only inwards. And that's better. I wonder actually, would I get away with bringing this down much smaller and try to squeeze them into a vertical strip of it rather than get the cuts on it? It's a little twisted here, but you probably won't see that because the glass going into this might cover that. Alright, I think we'll call that done. Yeah, okay, so I definitely think it's all too much of the same color, but for the moment it's fine. I'll keep it. I'm gonna select the window frame, the outer frame, this piece, and now the main roof, and Control J. So that's all one piece there, almost. There we go. Okay, so we just need to set up a glass material for the window then. Okay, to make the glass material for the window, it's actually very simple. We just need to select the window piece itself, and we'll remove the material there, and we're going to set up a new one, a glass material. So I'll click New, call material glass. Alright, now we go to shading. So we have a new material set up here ready to go. So on this we're going to use the mix RGB nodes that we were hesitant to make at the start, but they'll come in handy. So I'm going to set up 2 of these, and I'm just going to connect one to the base color, and you'll see that that will control the tint. So if you want to give like a slight blue tint to glass, which it normally has, just enough for that to kind of pop. And the next one here is going to control the transparency of it. So to do that, what you need to do is you need to connect the color of your mix RGB node into alpha. And nothing will really happen here because you need to go into your material properties and scroll down the material properties until you see this point, the settings. So you want your blend mode to be alpha blend. And now that's going to take that off into consideration. You can see it's kind of gone transparent on you there. And for shadow mode, although I don't think it really matters here, but we'll just set that to none. So now the color input of color 1, depending on how light or dark it is, will determine how see-through your window is. So the darker it is, the more transparent you get. So if you want to have like a dusted window where it's not quite easy to see through, you'd probably go in the lighter value, whereas typical windows might be closer to the darker value. I'm going to stay somewhere in the mid to top range for this, because I want to set up, we're going to actually use the roughness map of our Atlas 1 to control streaks on the window, because no glass is ever that clean. So what we'll do is we'll press Q and add an image texture. I'll connect my color into roughness, and then I'll just open my rough map here. So doesn't show it up here because we have to give this glass UVs first. So I'm going to select the glass. Let's tab to go to edit, and with everything selected, press A, and then press U and unwrap. So that unwrapped the glass for us, and I'm going to scale it. Down. And I need to consider what part of the map I want to give it. Let me see if I can change this into the rough map. So the way the rough map will work is areas that are darker will show up as glossy. I think that's how it works anyway. I know that rough maps and specular maps are kind of the opposite of each other. As far as I know, roughness map, it's the darker area that is the specular on your model. So I want to move this onto the map here, and those areas where the cracks are will obviously be two standing out here. If I can make it visible, I'll toggle with a color ramp, I think, kind of boost those values. So if I adjust this, you can see the way it's changing on the glass. So it almost looks like it's kind of rain stained, which would be perfect for this. But those gaps in the wood are probably a little too much. So to fix that, I'll probably just scale it down so there's less of them, less visible. And I know that this middle edge running through that is the middle of this glass, so it's concealed by this piece of wood. So I can actually scale this down, maybe move it in over these two planks here, and if I scale it uniform here, this crease will remain in the middle, which was going to be hidden by that piece of window frame there. So I'm just going to scale that down so that these two gaps are running either side of the window now, so they're going to be covered by the left and right of the window frame. So with that, we should have enough information on the map to show up here without having the heavy lines there, which I think actually looks pretty okay. So we have our streaks there. We just need to adjust the values a little. Okay. Now once we get a light or a HDRI into the scene, it'll pop more as well. Okay, so I'm just adjusting the value of the color map as well. Maybe change the color around and see. Yeah, I think a blue tint would work better. Okay. Something like that will do for now. Again, we're going to be using the same glass shader for pretty much everything, so I'm going to see how it looks on multiple windows and I'll adjust it accordingly. Okay, now I just want to, I'm curious if we had, say, a curtain behind that window. Would you see it? I'm sure you would. You probably will be adding in those little details anyway, so yeah, that's how you set up a basic glass shader.